Good morning. My name is Mrs. Einekes, and I'm here today to read you the story of Cinderelli. This is the ultra-cool version of Cinderella's classic tale. I like this book because it makes it more multicultural, and it includes lots of different aspects that you didn't see in the original Cinderella. I hope you enjoy this book. Cinderelli by Frances Minters. Once upon a time, or so they tell me, there was a girl called Cinderelli. Ellie was good and she was pretty. She lived with her folks in New York City. That girl was so good. With Mom and Dad and Sue and Nellie, her sisters were mean to Cinderelli. When school let out, they'd watch TV. They'd ask Cinderelli to serve iced tea, or else they'd play a video game, but they never asked Ellie to do the same. Sometimes when Ellie was washing the floor, they'd slide across it and out the door. What do you think would happen then? Why, Ellie would have to wash it again. Shocking. Ellie cleaned up 'cause she liked to be neat, from the hair on her head to the toes on her feet. She worked so hard it was a pity she had no fun in New York City. Don't fret, Ellie. Things'll get better soon. But then one day Elle got a note, and so did her sisters. Somebody wrote, "Sue, Elle, and Nellie, we picked your name. You've won free tickets to a basketball game." I told you things would get better. "We accept with pleasure," said Sue and Nellie. "And so do I," said Cinderelli. Her sisters just looked at her and smiled, and then they said, "You can't go, child." Maybe I was wrong. But I'm invited. It says so there. You're too young, Ellie, and you've nothing to wear. I'll shop, said Ellie, but you've no money. Ellie's mother agreed. They're so right, honey. There's no money for three, only money for two. So let your sisters go, Ellie. They're older than you. So Ellie's big sisters went right out shopping, and Ellie stayed home and did the mopping. Poor Cinderelli. The night of the game, as Elle watched them go, an old lady came by and said, "Ellie, hello." "Excuse me," said Elle, "but I know all the dangers. I'm never allowed to speak to strangers." "I'm your godmother, Ellie. Don't you recognize me? The last time I saw you, you were 2 or 3. Ellie's grown a bit since then. "I'm here because we've things to do. Keep your eyes on my cane. I have something for you." What could it be? She waved her cane once. Elle squealed like a flute. Her clothes had turned into a basketball suit. "And here's something else to go with your clothes. Glass sneakers," said Godma. "You'll need 2 of those. 1 for each foot." "Now wait, Godmother. Hold on a minute. I'm just watching the game. I don't want to be in it." "Whoops," said the lady. "Excuse my mistake. Let's see what else my cane can make." And poof, Ellie wore a satiny shirt with a beautiful flowery red mini skirt. "You look great, Elle." Ellie was happy 'cause she looked so fine. "Now go to the game and have a good time." "Thank you, dear Godma. I'm glad that you came. But how am I going to get to the game?" "Oh, that's an easy one, dear. I've got it planned. I'll send you off on this old garbage can." "Oh, Godmother, people don't ride on garbage cans, do they?" She waved her cane and she said, "Kerpike," and the garbage can became a bike. Elle got right on and almost fell off, 'cause riding a bike in glass sneakers is tough. "You'll be fine, Elle. I know that it's true. There's just one thing I ask of you. Be home by 10, or else, my dear, your pretty new clothes will disappear." Uh-oh. "No problem," purred Ellie, as sweet as a kitty, and then she rode off through New York City. The game was just starting, and Elle got to her seat, and out ran Prince Charming. People rose to their feet. So that's a famous Prince Charming. "Let's go, Prince Charming!" Elle yelled with the rest. Of all the school's players, Prince was the best. Prince was passing the ball, but he looked at the stands. Boom! Some huge guy knocked the ball from his hands. Elle stood on her toes and raised her arms fast. She caught that ball before it flew past. "Hooray!" yelled the crowd, except Sue and Nellie. Her sisters just stared at Cinderelli. "Is that Ellie?" asked Sue. "No, that's a bad guess. She's older than Ellie and much better dressed." "Here's the ball," Ellie shouted, and she threw it up high. "In the future, be careful." "Thanks, miss. I'll try." The prince stared at Ellie and said, "Glad to meet you. After the game, let's go get some pizza." "What's your name?" he asked. "I can't tell you, I fear," for Elle was afraid that her sisters might hear. When the game ended, the other side clapped. They were good sports, even though they got zapped. "Will you wait for me, please?" The prince stopped by Elle's chair. "I'll shower and change and blow dry my hair." Elle stayed till the clock blinked 9:58. In 2 more minutes she would be late. She got up and ran. It's sad, but it's true. The lace come undone, and she lost her glass shoe. But she couldn't stop now, so she hurried on. All she saw was a trash can. Her bike was gone. I was afraid that would happen. Ellie waved at the can and said, "Kerplike!" But the can wouldn't change back into the bike. Then she looked at her clothes. "Oh, no! They're the same ones I was wearing before Godmother came." She waved at her clothes. Poof! They didn't change either. "Where's Godma?" she wondered, "now that I need her?" Meanwhile, Prince Charming, looking pretty cool, was busy signing photos for the fans at school. When he was finished, he looked all about. Ellie wasn't inside, so the prince went out. Outside he saw no one, just some girl who ran off down the street with a huge garbage can. But on the steps he spied one sparkly shoe. "This sneaker," said Charming, "gives me a clue." Why does Prince Charming need the shoe? Next morning, Cinder Elly tried giving Prince a call, but his number wasn't listed in the book at all. At the same time, Charming sat at a table. He drew the sneaker as well as he was able. Beneath it, he wrote for all to see, "If you lost this sneaker, please telephone me." Then he wrote his name and phone number too. He went to the copy shop to print a few. The prince taped his copies once they were complete to every single lamppost on that busy street. Many women phoned him with feet too big or small. Prince Charming wasn't happy. Won't the right one ever call? "Hey, gang, look out, here's Sue, here's Nellie, with a poster to show to Cinderelli." "Let's call the prince," said Sue and Nellie. "That's not your shoe," said Cinderelli. "Oh, no," they said, "but we'll try it, since how else could we ever meet a real live prince?" They phoned Prince Charming, and just as they planned, he dropped in to visit with the sneaker in hand. Prince was surprised by Nellie and Sue. He said, "I don't remember either of you." Sue tried the shoe and fell down flat. "Poor Sue," laughed Nell, "your foot's too fat." Next Nellie tried and went into a tizzy. The shoe was so tight it made her feel dizzy. Serves 'em both right. Then Ellie came out from where she'd been looking, her sisters yelled, "Ellie, go back to your cooking." Cinderelli sat down and put on the shoe. Then she took out the other and put that one on too. "Excuse me," called someone. "May I come in?" "Please do," said Ellie. "Godma, where have you been?" "I've been busy," she answered, "but I know my duty, to see Cinderelli and her friend Prince Cutie." "Prince Charming," he corrected. "Well, how do you do? It's time you saw Ellie in the clothes that you knew." Poof, poof! She waved. Ellie's clothes became the one she had worn to the basketball game. "Yikes!" screamed the sisters. "Shush!" Godmother told them. "You deserve a good scolding," and she started to scold them. "You're forgiven," said Ellie. "I'm sure that you've seen that it's awfully wrong to be terribly mean." "You're right, Cinderelli, and we promise we know it. If we ever feel mean again, we just won't show it." Prince said to Ellie, "Let's go spread the news." "Wait, Prince," said Ellie, "till I change my shoes." They walked down the street holding hands pretty snappy, and everyone lived forever happy. I'm so glad everything turned out all right. Aren't you? I hope you enjoyed this version of the book. I know I did.